A Dally M medal and a Clive Churchill trophy are gathering dust in a trophy cabinet, while the man who earned them has become the centre of a $4.4 million nightmare for the most iconic club in rugby league. Jack Wighton didn't just leave the Canberra Raiders, he walked away from $1 million loyalty deal to chase a premiership at South Sydney, but today, that dream looks more like a financial disaster. While the Rabbitohs faithful expected a saviour to spark their dying title window, they've received a player who seems trapped in a cycle of injury and underwhelming impact. The $850,000 question is no longer about when he will find his form, but whether he ever will, or if he has simply become the most expensive passenger in the Cardinal and Myrtle. If you think big money always buys big results, the fallout from Wighton's tenure at Redfern is a brutal reality check that is currently rocking the foundations of the NRL. This is the story of a superstar who was supposed to be the tipping point, but has instead become the ultimate cautionary tale for recruiters. The clock is ticking on the 2026 season, and the pressure is at a boiling point for the Bunnies' elite roster. Smash that subscribe button and hit the bell for the fastest breaking news in the game. All sports updates starts right now. The criticism coming out of the preseason camps is loud, and it is led by some of the most respected voices in the media. Veteran reporter Michael Carianis hasn't held back, declaring that the Rabbitohs have simply not received bang for their buck from the former Origin and Test star. Wighton was brought to the club on a 4-year deal with the promise of versatility and big game experience, yet his time in Sydney has been defined by what he hasn't done rather than what he has. In 2025, he managed just 15 games, a tally that reflects the broader injury crisis at the club but doesn't excuse the lack of X-factor when he actually took the field. Critics point to his stint at centre as evidence that he is being wasted or, worse, that his best years are firmly in the rearview mirror. For a player earning nearly $900,000 a season, the expectation isn't just to do your job, it's to change the outcome of a season. The frustration among the Redfern faithful is palpable because they've seen this script before with other high-priced recruits. South Sydney's decision to pair Wighton with Latrell Mitchell and Cody Walker was meant to create an unstoppable attacking force, but instead, it has created a top-heavy salary cap that lacks the depth to survive a standard NRL campaign. While the club defended his signing as a calculated gamble for a premiership, the reality is that they haven't seen the final since he arrived. The narrative in the boardrooms is shifting from excitement to accountability, as the club realizes they are paying spine money for a centre who hasn't been able to command a game like he did in the nation's capital. The comparison to his form at the Raiders is staggering. He was a leader who carried an entire city on his back, but at Souths, he often looks like a man searching for a role that no longer exists. All sports updates. Adding fuel to the fire is the arrival of David Fifita, another marquee man whose signing has forced the spotlight even brighter on the existing underperformers. With Fifita joining the ranks on big money, there is zero room for error, and the bang for buck metric is being applied to every player on the roster with a six-figure salary. Coach Wayne Bennett is back at the helm, and his history of tapping players on the shoulder is legendary. He doesn't care about a player's resume if they aren't producing on the training paddock. Wighton is effectively on trial for his career during this preseason, as Bennett looks to see if he can reignite the fire that made him a Dally M winner. If the veteran doesn't find a way to dominate his edge in the opening rounds of 2026, he could find himself the target of a roster clean-out as the club prepares for a post-Cody Walker era. The irony of Wighton's situation is that he reportedly took a massive pay cut to join the Rabbitohs, rejecting $1 million extension from the Raiders. This sacrifice was supposed to prove his hunger for success, but it has only served to increase the scrutiny when that success hasn't materialized. Fans are questioning why a player would leave a club where he was a legend to become just another guy in a struggling system. The tactical shift of moving Latrell Mitchell to the centres in 2026 complicates things further, potentially forcing Wighton into different roles that may not suit his natural instincts. This constant shuffling of the backline is a symptom of a club that has too many stars and not enough structure, and Wighton is the most visible example of this identity crisis. The Premiership window that was used to lure him is now slamming shut, and the noise around his contract is becoming deafening. Financially, the Rabbitohs are in a precarious position because Wighton is locked in until the end of 2027. If he continues to deliver underwhelming performances, his contract becomes an albatross that prevents the club from retaining young guns like Jai Gray or securing elite forwards in a competitive market. The NRL player market is a zero-sum game, and every dollar spent on a declining star is a dollar taken away from a future champion. Rival clubs are already circling, watching to see if South Sydney becomes desperate enough to subsidise a move for Wighton just to clear some cap space. It's a humiliating prospect for a player of his calibre, but the business of rugby league has no room for sentiment. The pre-season trials will be the first indication of whether Wighton has found a second wind or if he is simply counting down the days until his retirement while collecting a massive paycheck. The storytelling of Wighton's career has always been about his grit and his ability to overcome adversity, from his early days in Orange to his rise as a Canberra icon. However, this latest chapter is threatening to tarnish that legacy if he can't turn the tide. He is no longer the young buck with everything to gain, he is the veteran with everything to lose. The warring clubs dynamic that often defines NRL transfers is absent here. Canberra has moved on, and South Sydney is left holding the bill for a product that hasn't matched the advertising. There is a sense of desperation in the way the club is marketing its 2026 campaign, leaning heavily on the Wayne Bennett factor to fix what is broken. But even the supercoach can't tackle for Wighton or make those line breaks for him. The responsibility lies solely on the shoulders of the number 4 jersey to prove the doubters wrong. As we look toward round 1, the narrative is clear: Wighton must be more than just a name on a team sheet. He needs to rediscover that X factor that Michael Carianis and other critics say has vanished since he crossed the border into New South Wales. If he can't dominate the physical exchanges and provide the spark that South so desperately need, the talk of bad business will only intensify. The 2026 season is a crossroads for both the player and the club. One path leads to a glorious redemption under Bennett, while the other leads to a messy divorce and a legacy defined by what might have been. The $850,000 man is standing at the edge of the cliff, and the whole rugby league world is waiting to see if he flies or falls. This is the ultimate test of character for one of the game's modern greats. The drama at Redfern is far from over, and we will be there for every twist and turn of the 2026 season. Do you think Jack Wighton is being unfairly targeted, or is it time for the Rabbitohs to move him on? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, give this video a thumbs up, and make sure you're following us for all the latest NRL news. Your support keeps the channel running, so thank you for being part of the community. For the Rabbitohs, for the fans, and for the game we love, stay tuned. I'm your host, and this is All Sports Updates. We'll see you in the next one. This video provides a comprehensive breakdown of the Rabbitohs' 2026 roster and the pressure on their star recruits to deliver after a disappointing 2025 campaign.